Welcome to Running on Reddit r/Bridezillas, where the craziest brides and wedding stories are shared on Reddit. My sister is getting married in August 2020. My boyfriend, who is also vegan, and I are both invited. My sister reached out to me the day of the proposal and asked me to be a bridesmaid, which I was ecstatic about. My sister and I are very close, so she said it would be really meaningful to her if I was in the wedding party. I'm really excited for her, and I feel great that she values me enough to give me a spot. Her and her fiancé have been on top of planning everything to avoid stress and pushing things off to the last minute. One of the things they already have picked are the venue and catering. I asked my sister about food options knowing there will likely only be a couple of dishes we can eat, but she told me there won't be any options for us. Now I'm used to picking from a few side dishes, so I wasn't expecting a lot, but my sister knows I'm vegan and knew it well before she got engaged. Apparently, even the vegetables are going to be very buttery, so we can't even eat those. I don't expect a whole vegan friendly wedding, but I'm sure at least one option couldn't have hurt. I asked my sister about including at least one thing for me, and she just told me I was probably going to have to find something else to bring in to eat, or that I should eat before the wedding, so I won't be hungry when everyone else sits down to eat. Like what? This honestly would not be a huge deal if I was going to someone else's wedding who I wasn't very close to, but my sister stressed and emphasized so much about how important it was to her that my boyfriend and I be there. Then, she won't bother to make sure we can actually eat anything, then tells me to just bring something else in while everyone else is catered to. I understand it's her wedding. She has enough on her plate already, and I won't try to make her change the menu for us. But we both feel hurt that we are just being tossed to the side and told to fend for our own food. Edit. A piece of info that I did not include is that my parents keep kosher and they are being provided with options. The vegan sister wasn't catered to, but the parents, who kept kosher, had options. Something is fishy about this. I've known Derek forever. We went to middle school, high school and college together. In college, he met Jane, and I met Amelia. Amelia and I got married 2 years after college, which was about a year and change ago, and Eric and Jane got engaged roughly a week after our wedding. Now, we had invited both of them, but only Derek showed up as my best man. He said that Jane did not feel comfortable being there as she wasn't really close to myself or Amelia. Okay, fine. She was welcome, but obviously not obligated to come. So now, Derek and Jane are getting married, and they've since moved across the country and are having the wedding there. Derek asked me to be his best man. I of course said yes, and we've just recently had his bachelor party a week ago in his new hometown. I flew in, as did one other groomsman. Whenever we've discussed the wedding, I've always mentioned to Derek how excited we were for the wedding. I don't really talk to Jane much. Their wedding is about 3 months out, and we've had the save the date for a while, but we just got the invitation a few days ago. For one, my wife Amelia was not invited. I was confused and a little hurt, and I figured it was perhaps a mistake. At this point, we've had the save the date. I was the best man, and I'd mentioned to my buddy how excited we were as a couple several times, and we had purchased plane tickets about a month ago when there was a good price. We've got a hotel booked of course as well. We were all set. So I called him up and I asked him, "Hey, did you mean to invite only me?" And he got quiet and he said that Jane insisted because they were over budget on the wedding and that she hadn't come to our wedding, her choice, and wasn't really close to Amelia. She shouldn't be invited. I was upset and I told him we had already booked flights and hotels and she had bought a new dress, and he just said, "Sorry man, you know what they say, happy wife, happy life, right?" and sort of laughed it off. He was clearly uncomfortable, and I know it wasn't his choice, but he also left me out to dry. I told him I was disappointed he felt that way, and that I didn't think I could be there on the day any longer. He blew up at me, saying I was leaving him in a lurch. He didn't have a best man who was going to stand next to him, etc. He called me selfish and accused me of abandoning him, and then hung up the phone. Yesterday, he texted me he was sorry, but that he was still hurt that I cancelled. I texted back, that I was hurt my wife was left out in the cold when he clearly knew we were expecting the invitation for two. He blamed Jane again and said his hands were tied and that she was mad at me for ruining her wedding plans. I didn't answer. So, am I the butthole here? If he had spoken up sooner, I feel like we could have worked something out, but now we have plane tickets and feel trapped. To not invite a spouse's partner is quite an insensitive thing to do. That couple deserves better. Happy wife, happy life might win some points in the short term, but most women probably don't want to be yoked to a lifelong appeaser. Hannah and I went to the same high school and became closer in college. We kept in touch, even when I left for further schooling, and she moved back to our hometown. We hadn't seen each other in person in about a year and a half, though we talked via FaceTime and text. A year ago she got engaged and asked me to be a bridesmaid. I've been tall and fat my whole life. But, over the past year I started going to a boutique gym in my area, fell in love with it, and went from a US 16 to a US 4. It was just something that finally clicked with me. The wedding is in 2 months and the bridal shower is this weekend. So I took my summer vacation this week/next week. Hannah, myself, and her 4 other bridesmaids met up for dinner/drinks at another bridesmaid's house yesterday, and they were pretty shocked at my weight loss. I could tell Hannah wasn't thrilled from the get-go. So, I tried to keep the conversation off of me and on her. The only thing she had to say was, "Yeah, you do look different." Later in the evening, after a few drinks were had, Hannah still looked unhappy and was messing with her phone, apparently on the website where we had gotten our dresses. Out of nowhere she started talking about the bridesmaid dresses and saying snarky things like, "Yours better be ready in time and you're gonna have to pay for alterations. I'm not taking care of this." I tried to reassure her that wouldn't be a problem and we were always expected to pay, but it seemed like she just wanted to be angry. My phone was dying, so I went outside to get my charger. When I walked back toward the house I could overhear Hannah continuing to trash talk me. She griped about the wedding party, how I obviously planned some sort of big reveal around her wedding, and how I was going to look weird and out of balance next to her fiance's plus size cousin, who I'm paired up with. The thing that stings the most is that Hannah said, Ashley's supposed to be the fat one. I stood there for a minute, took some time to cool off, and then walked back in and left the gathering pretty quickly. At this point I'm not sure what I want to do. I've texted Ashley confirmation from the shop that my dress will be ready in time, and she hasn't answered. But, I'm not really sure if I want to go to the bridal shower tomorrow, or at all, or if I should drop out of the wedding entirely. Hannah should have congratulated OP for the weight loss, but instead attacked her. True friends must be truly hard to find. If you like the content and want to support the channel, like and subscribe right now, or you'll be running on fumes. My ex and I were high school sweethearts and we worked together for around 6 years. We started dating in high school and we stayed together in uni, since we were in the same city. Then we broke up a few months after we graduated. If it matters, I broke up with him. This was in 2012, and we literally haven't seen each other or talked since, but we still have some mutual friends from high school and uni. One of those mutual friends got married last month, and I was in the wedding party. When he and his fiancée were putting together the guest list, I asked them not to invite my ex. Weddings are hard enough when you're single, and I really just wanted to celebrate and enjoy my friend's wedding in peace. I didn't want to stress about running into my ex and his new wife all night. They understood and they did not invite my ex to their wedding. Recently, I was hanging out with some friends and my ex got brought up and someone asked why he missed the wedding. The bride explained he wasn't invited because of me. I saw some of the other people exchange glances with each other, like it was weird. But no one actually said anything to me. One of my best friends is getting married at the end of the year on New Year's Eve, and I'm a bridesmaid and I asked her to not invite my ex to her wedding for the same reasons. They haven't sent out invitations yet, but as far as I know he will not be invited. I feel like, since I'm in the wedding party, it's not unfair of me to ask my friends for this favor, so I don't feel uncomfortable. I probably wouldn't have asked them if I was just a regular guest. Also, I'm much closer friends with the couples getting married than my exes, and I think, if they really wanted him to be there then they wouldn't have uninvited him just because I asked. 7 years ago is a long time to be upset about a breakup. Jealousy, entitlement, the saying, time heals all wounds, apparently doesn't apply here. I'm a 19-year-old student. I don't have a lot of debt, but I can't be throwing my money around like I'm rich. I have a cousin, 26. Her wedding is on Sunday. We are not really close, but we do have an okay relationship. She made an announcement this week saying that she'll be charging $50 for every guest who's coming. She said that they can Venmo her the money so there won't be no problems, and everyone who paid will be added onto the exclusive guest list, which basically means you won't have to wait in line while other guests pay. Once I read this, I was shocked. I responded asking why, and she said she wanted to get the money she spent on her special day back. I told her I wouldn't be able to come because this was outrageous and that I wish her well on her special day. She contacted my aunt and my aunt called me cheap and rude. My parents offered to pay for my entry, but I refused. Who in their right mind charges a $50 entry fee to a wedding? You know how much Taco Bell you can buy for $50? OP made the right choice to not cater to such an absurd request. Let me know in the comments below, how would you have spent the $50 instead? Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on the bell or you'll be running on fumes. See you in the next video.